Hi guys, it's time for the first impression in the new year, and today we are going to be testing out all of the new Juvia's Place mini palettes. Now you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, unless you're new,
Annette, why did you end up picking up the two neutral palettes? Those are not you at all.
and here's the thing. I was going to only get the purple and the pink palette, but then when I went on their site, I was a little bit late to the game. I don't know why. I wasn't really paying attention about this launch, but I just wasn't. And when I went on the site to order these two, they were sold out unless you bought the whole bundle. So I just ended up buying the whole bundle because I thought, you know, why not? Like, these are very inexpensive, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wanting to see them and see them swatched out, and maybe I'll try them. But today we are going to start off by swatching all of these, and then I think what I'm going to do at the end of the video is I'm going to do a look using all of these palettes together. And then if you guys are wanting to see like separate videos with the individual palettes, do let me know. I'm probably not going to do so with the neutral ones just because they're not really me, and I think after I've used them in this video, I'm just going to give them away to some friends because I just know that I'm never going to use them. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start off by just swatching all of these so we can see if this is like the normal Juvia's Place quality, which, I mean, I'm expecting them to be. I'm really excited though because small palettes like this just makes me really happy because I feel like it's something that's been kind of missing on the market for a while. Like, not a lot of brands have come out with like 6-pan palettes, so let's just go ahead and get into some swatches, and then we'll talk a little bit more about these palettes like when I'm done and kind of have some thoughts about them.
Stepping out, it's Friday night. How I'm longing for this day. Yes, I'm single, oh, we want to mingle, and my friends are on the way. You got that good vibe. I want to spend some time back here with you. Oh, I got that good old times. You want to spend some time back here with me. Oh, and time after time I am wondering who is she to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. Oh, that smile makes me tripping out. I wanna dance with you tonight. Yeah, you close to me, feeling good.
Okay, so my first thoughts after swatching these palettes is that some of the mattes really swatch bad, but I mean, that's very common with Juvia's Place, so I'm not really that worried about it. But I mean, some of these swatches were really bad, so we're just gonna have to wait and see how they perform on the eyes. So I'm gonna try to use some of the shadows that I'm the most in doubt whether or not is going to be great on my eyes today, because those are the ones that I'm like the most worried about, especially like some of the purples in here. And I also think that, especially the berry palette, I feel like a lot of these shades ended up looking like very similar when swatched out. So I don't know how necessary it was to put like all of these in here. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see what happens. I don't want to judge any of these until I've actually tried them. So let's go ahead and start by priming. I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base like I always do. Also, if you're wondering about the price of these, they retail for $13.99, which is like very inexpensive, and I feel like Juvia's Place never lets me down. Like, I've never been disappointed in any of their palettes, and they also have like 40% off sales all the time. So if you've been thinking about like picking up something from Juvia's Place, I would definitely recommend like wait for a sale, maybe sign up for their email notifications so that you know when the sales are going on, because I swear they have sales all the time, and the only reason why I pay full price for these is because I want to review them as fast as possible. But if I was a regular consumer, I would never buy Juvia's Place full price because they just always go on sale. So just keep that in mind. So I think what I want to do is I definitely want to test out that purple that swatched really bad here. So that's that one. And I also want to probably test out one of the shades in the berry palette, and then maybe I'll put some of the more neutral shimmers on my lid. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start off with the berry palette. It's not even what it's called. It's called the berries. So I'm going to go ahead and take this kind of light pink here and put that into my crease. And now normally if I have a feeling that a purple is going to be really bad, I will start with the purple first, but knowing Juvia's Place, I'm honestly not really that worried because they do tend to come through even though they swatch really badly. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by building up a crease here with this pink. And these shadows always apply so much better on the eyes than they do swatched out. Like, it's kind of crazy the difference, honestly. And like, I know I said I was going to maybe give away the neutral ones, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, maybe it would be a good idea for me to have some neutral palettes in my collection, because I really don't have a single like all neutral palette because it's just not what I use. But I think that having something like this as an all neutral palette, I think maybe that's a good idea. So maybe I will actually keep these, and that way I can maybe pull them into videos, you know, using them along with other palettes and stuff like that. So maybe I take that back. Maybe I just want to keep them. And also, I'm kind of like a Juvia's Place hoarder. I don't think I've ever decluttered a Juvia's Place palette, so I don't really know why I would start now, even though I wasn't planning on picking up those two palettes, but it just kind of happened. So as usual, this matte is just laying down beautifully, and I really wasn't expecting anything else from Juvia's Place. The one thing I really like about the Juvia's Place's mattes is that they are extremely buildable, and it makes them very easy to work with. Like, you don't get that pow pigmentation right away when you put down a shadow. And it's also nice with shades like this, because I feel like this could actually be used as like a beautiful blush shade. It might be a little bit too intense, and I don't know if you'd be able to tone it down enough to not have it be crazy, especially on, you know, a pretty light skin tone like myself. I feel like for someone with a deeper skin tone, like this would make for a beautiful blush. So I'm just going to switch to a clean brush here and just really make sure that this is nice and blended before I go in with that purple. And then, like I said, I don't really know exactly what I want to do on my lid, but I do think I want to pull in some of these neutral shimmers. Now, it's weird. Like, I have nothing against neutral shimmers. I actually kind of like them, especially along with colorful mattes. But when it comes to mattes, I just like my mattes to be colorful because I just feel more like myself when I wear colorful mattes. So let's go into the violets, and I'm going to grab this dark purple up here. Now this is the one that swatched like a nightmare, so we're just gonna have to see how this goes. I'm going to start by placing it first in my outer corner and really packing it on, and then I'm gonna start by pulling it through my crease and trying to blend this out and build this up to be, you know, as intense as I'm able to get it with the shadows. So far, I mean, it's actually laying down nicer than I expected. So let's see what happens when I try to blend this out here. Just going to take my time with this purple because I find that shadows that are maybe a little bit finicky just needs a little bit more patience. And it is laying down really weirdly. Like, see how it creates a bit of like a sharp line in my crease here? I don't know exactly what is causing that, but hopefully it'll blend out if I just take my time with it, like I said here. So I'm not having any problems on this side. I think it was just me putting down the shadow a little bit strangely on the other eye. And it does seem to build up and blend out very nicely. It does take a little bit of time and finessing though, but I feel like with purples, you just kind of have to expect them to not be like super easy to work with because purple is just a hard color to get right, it seems. I do think this is the kind of color I would preferably start with first next time and not go in with like a transition shade, but just go straight in with the purple and then blend it out with the pink instead. So I'm gonna go back into the pink and maybe go back and forth a little bit between these two colors to just make sure that the blend is the way that I want it to. And then I don't know if I want to do the same on the lower lash line. I'm thinking I want to try out some new shades just so I can get a better idea of like how all of these work, but we'll see what happens when I'm done with like the upper part of my mattes here. So I think this is looking fine. So what do I want to do on my lower lash line? I think I want to go back into the Berries palette and I want to take this shadow right here, which is kind of like a beautiful dark berry maroon. I don't even know how I would explain that. That's probably not very accurate. And now that I'm looking at this, it looks like this pink has a little bit of like micro glitters in it, which you can't really see. I'm sure you can see it on the eyes, but it's probably just to make it a little bit better to blend. But I'm gonna go into this shadow right here, and honestly, I really like that these don't have any names because Juvia's Place's names are a struggle for me. I'm not gonna lie, like I don't like trying to pronounce anything from Juvia's Place because I know I'm just going to mess it up. So not having any names in here just makes me really happy and way more comfortable using these. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that shadow and just really run that underneath my eye here. Oh, and that is an absolutely beautiful color. This is kind of like a cherry color. I am so here for that. Oh, that's beautiful. And if you're new to Juvia's Place and you don't own anything from them, the mattes are kind of hard pressed into the pan, which I think is why they don't swatch as good as something that's like, you know, looser and not as tightly pressed, but that means that they also don't really have any kick up at all, which is always nice because it just doesn't make a mess, you know what I mean? And it also makes the shadows like more on the buildable side, which means that they're going to be a little bit easier to work with than something that's super pigmented straight off the bat. And Juvia's Place has always had one of my favorite matte formulas. I just think that they are, for the most part, like super easy to work with. And I don't know, I just really enjoy their formula. So I'm just gonna take a clean brush here and just working on blending out this color. I don't think I want this to be like super blown out. Saying that, I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there thinking like, what are you talking about? But sometimes I like to have a really blown out lower lash line, but I find that with like pinks in particular, sometimes it looks a bit much if I blow it out like way too far down. Just gonna make sure like this is blended into the outer corner here as well. So I think this is looking really, really nice. Now let's go into some of these neutral palettes and see if I can find some pretty shade to put on my lid here. So let's see, I do want like kind of like a dark shade, and I also want a bit of a lighter shade. So I guess we'll go into the chocolates first, and I'm gonna grab probably this bronze shade right here. I don't know how well this color story is going to like work together, but I mean, I'm really just wanting to try out as many of these shades as possible, and I want to make sure that I try some from all of the palettes. So I am going to go ahead and spray this with some Fix Plus here. I'm using my MAC 242 brush, which is my favorite for shimmers. And I'm going to put this basically in the middle of my lid and blend it into that purple that I have in the outer corner. And I've yet to be let down by a Juvia's Place shimmer. Like, their shimmer formula is just so beautiful, and it's what made me fall in love with the brand in the first place, because when I first tried Juvia's Place, it was kind of like my first, I don't even know, like discovery of really, really intense pigmented shadows, especially shimmers. I'd never tried anything like it before, and that's kind of what started my love affair with the brand, if you will, and I feel like I've been very loyal to them since then. I even have like a Juvia's Place playlist that I have. I'll link that up in the corner if you want to check out more Juvia's Place videos. Some of the videos are pretty old, so if you want to go back and see like the start of my YouTube channel, probably be a good place to start. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this color in particular, it's not something that I would normally use because I just don't really like bronzes on myself, but I feel like it goes very nicely with the rest of the colors that I have here, surprisingly, and I wasn't sure if I would really like it, but I think this is actually going to come together really nicely here. And then I think for the inner part of my lid here, I'm going to go into the other neutral palette. This one is called the Nudes. And I'm going to take either this color right here. I think that's the one I'm going to use. I mean, they look pretty similar on the fingers, but I think I'm going to go into this one because I was just kind of blown away when I swatched that and I just want it on my eyes. I do wish I used a little bit of glitter glue with the shadow because I'm definitely having a little bit of fallout, and it's also kind of hard to get like a sharp line with this because the shadow is not like super opaque. I feel like it would be better used as more of a topper shade or like the middle part of a halo or something like that, or just an inner corner highlight. Not so much like in the first part of my lid here, but that could just be me. And I feel like if I had either used glitter glue or done a cut crease, like this would have been beautiful. But it does blend really nicely into that dark brown here. So I think this is where I want to leave it with like the shadows. Actually, let me go back into the purple palette just for a second here, because I'm tempted to use one of the shimmery shades in here as well. I just want to see how they look. Could that be a good inner corner shade? Probably not. Yeah, I don't really feel like any of these are going to work as my inner corner shade. What if I take a little bit of this color right here maybe? How's that gonna look? That's really pretty though, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I feel like there's no shade that are like exactly what I'm looking for right now. Like, I just want something kind of light just for like my inner corner or even the first part of my lower lash line. So I'm gonna see if maybe I can find something else to pop there, because I feel like something is just kind of missing. So I think what I want to do is I want to take a little bit of this Stila glitter. This one is in the shade Beauty Junkie, and I'm going to pop a bit of that like in the first part of my lower lash line here, just for like a bit of an extra pop. I don't know, I just felt like something was missing, and I think that this is it. So let's just try it and see what happens. So I'm just going to take this on a brush just so I have a little bit more control here. And this is my referral 03 brush. I love this brush. I'm just going to place that like in the inner portion of my lower lash line. Just gonna place down a little bit first, and then I'll go and blend it out after so I don't overdo it here. Just gonna wipe off my brush and just make sure that I like kind of fade this out here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my eyes. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put something green in my waterline just because this is like my last week of having green hair, so I feel like I need to take advantage of it by being able to match for as long as possible. So I'm gonna take Teaspoon by ColourPop, put that in my waterline, do some liner and mascara, and then I'll come back and we can maybe do a lipstick together. Maybe I'll just put on a lipstick. I haven't really decided yet, but I'll be back when I'm done and I will show you what the look is looking like. Okay, so the look is all done. I did decide to just put on a lipstick because it took me forever to like choose a color because I didn't want like just a bright pink or a nude because I feel like a nude doesn't really go very well with like a purple and pink look, and I also just didn't want to use pink. So I ended up with this one from Colored Raine. This one is called Boss Babe, and I feel like this kind of, it doesn't go with the look, but it goes with the look. I don't know. That probably doesn't make any sense, but I feel like it goes with the look, kind of. So let's talk a little bit more about these palettes. So far I would say that the only issue that I had was with the purple in this palette, and like it did blend out and stuff. It was a little bit hard to work with, but everything else was really, really nice, very pigmented, very easy to work with. I really like them. I mean, like I said before, I've never had any issues with Juvia's Places palettes, and I don't think that these are an exception either. Like I said, the purple is a little bit tricky, but like obviously I made it work and it looks really nice. It just took a little bit of extra time. So is it a purple that I'm going to reach for if I'm not using that palette? Probably not, but I'm still not mad that I have it and I still think it works fine and I really like the undertone of it. So let me know if you want to see more videos with these palettes and what you want me to do with them. I need you guys to be very vocal about this if you do want to see more looks and see what I can do with these. I'm not going to do a separate video with all of these palettes. I'm probably not going to do any more with any of these two unless you want me to use them in conjunction with one of the other palettes. I could probably do that, but just as a heads up, like I'm not really a neutral person, like if you're new to my channel, so you probably won't be seeing me doing any like everyday neutral kind of looks because that's just not really me, but I'm still very intrigued to play more with these two palettes. And yeah, let me know if you want to see that. So let me know if you picked up any of these palettes and how you feel about them. Did you get them yet? I mean, I know it's pretty early still with these palettes, so maybe none of you have them already, but yeah, that's gonna be it for today. If you want to see some more content that I have on my channel, you can click on one of these, and if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!